So I recently posted a video titled Dismantling the System That Caused George Floyd's Death. Murder. And so then the system that I was talking about is obviously white supremacy. And so then of course, the natural next steps or question about, well, what comes next? I got that question. And of course, I have been thinking about that extensively and pondering it and discussing it. And I thought I would present it here. And so it's a three-pronged approach. We need truth, reconciliation, and re-education. And so if you're a student of history, or even just know some history, then you will remember, of course, that apartheid South Africa is no longer apartheid South Africa. When the country abolished apartheid, which also was a white supremacist system, they rebuilt, revisioned the country, reimagined the country, first through truth and reconciliation. So the U.S., after slavery was abolished in 1865, never did that very necessary thing. Of course, they went directly into Reconstruction, the rebuilding process, that largely failed because they missed the huge pink elephant in the room, truth and reconciliation. And so, what is truth? What do we mean by that? The country itself needs to atone. And the first way to do that is to tell the truth. Our country, the U.S., should not be debating over conspiracy theories when the history is plain, clear, evident, provable. The U.S. began as a slave nation. And white supremacy is the ideology that undergirds slave nations. And then later, of course, an offshoot of that was the pseudoscience of eugenics. Tell that truth. Stop gaslighting black and brown people into believing that racism is a figment of our imagination and that white supremacy doesn't live in the U.S. Quite the contrary, white supremacy is so entrenched in the fabric of the U.S. and in the American ethos and culture that when people fight against white supremacy and anti-racist activists and scholars fight against white supremacy, they're called anti-American because racism is so American that those ideals of anti-racism and anti-white supremacy are called anti-American. So tell the truth everywhere. That's going to take a whole lot of time. Apologize. Black and brown people need some officially documented apologies from the country. Atrocities were committed. Crimes against humanity were committed. Over 400 years of oppression that is a well-kept secret, or was before 2020. Then we can move into number 2, reconciliation. You cannot have reconciliation without truth, honesty, transparency, atonement. And so then black and brown people can begin to forgive. We have to cleanse the country of this darkness and this dark past. I had a professor once who said that slavery left no hands clean. And that couldn't be more true in 2021, all of these centuries after the transatlantic slave trade began. So then we can reconcile. A part of reconciliation, though, is re-education. All of the beautiful scholarship that goes on in colleges and universities across the country need to trickle down into K through 12 education. So every part of a child's education in this country needs to include the truth. We shouldn't have textbooks with wildly different versions of American history. American history is one of the most contentious sites in school systems, and it shouldn't be. There are multiple manifold truths that need to be included in all textbooks. And then we will be in this process of healing. We will have a whole generation who has gone through truth, reconciliation, and re-education. I'm here for it. I want to be a part of it.